Hey guys, ADT here with day 20. One sec, you guys can barely see me. There you go. ADT here with day 29. Fine, we're at the penultimate video. It's weird. I know you guys are probably sick of hearing my voice and hearing me like butt love Final Fantasy to death, so I figured I'd switch up at least one of those. In fact, instead today I'm going to talk about... I have paper. You know it's important when Adam has paper. Instead I'm going to talk about my personal favourite Resident Evil game, which is actually Resident Evil 3. Now a lot of people give Resident Evil 3 a lot of flack and a lot of like a lot of people don't care about it, and a lot of people just kind of shrug it off. But in fact, if people actually thought about it, it's the last time a Resident Evil game was actually survival horror and not action RPG. I've got a list here. I'm not going to go into like too much like butt probing and stuff like that, because anyone who's ever played Resident Evil 3 knows how good it is, and anyone who hasn't played Resident Evil 3 needs to go play Resident Evil 3 to find out how good it is. But I'm just going to stick... I mean, this is one that has very little... It's so weird because I'm so used to like being on the other side. This is one that has very little pros. That I'm used to the camera being on the other side. This one has very little cons, rather, but a fair bit of pros, in my opinion. This is only my opinion. I could be wrong, and you guys could hate on it all you want. If you're going to hate on it, then please hate responsibly. When the hating stops, stop. If you get that joke, good on you. So I'm only going to run through like why I consider it to be the best Resident Evil 3. There's a lot of pros, very few cons that I find, at least. But at least I'm not being biased, and like at least I'm actually giving cons. So I'm going to start off with listing the pros first. First of all, in my opinion, it's the first time we see a true tyrant type BOW, bioorganic or bio-organized, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, weapon. I mean, okay, yes, I know Resident Evil 1 had Tyrant, and Resident Evil 2 had Titan in the big coat, but this is the first time we see someone that really feels unrelenting. Nemesis has very much more of a... more of an air of, oh dear God, this thing is going to literally jump out at any... like, at any point, and that's what I need. I like that. I like the sensation of something's going to jump out at me, something's going to jump out at me, something's going to jump out at me. I don't like it when games become predictable and I'm like, okay, and in 3, 2, 1. No, I like hearing glass smash in a room full of windows and you're not sure if it's in the room or not. That to me really, really, really plays up on the horror aspect of it, which is great because I love the horror aspect of it. Number 2 is the fact that it killed off characters that a lot of people were like, why? Huh? I mean, it killed off Brad Vickers, who, honestly, I thought after 1 was just gonna, have a PTSD kind of breakout and just lock himself in a room. I didn't like lock himself in, be sent to an institution or lock himself in a room, not still be trying to work on stuff with the STARS unit. There's no like references to where Barry or Rebecca are, and all we get is Chris's diary. So basically, it feels like Barry, Rebecca, and Brad are all killed off. Admittedly, Brad is seen in 4, so we know he's not actually... Brad and Rebecca are both seen in 5, so we both know they're actually not dead, sadly. Another thing that really seemed to work for Resident Evil was the fact that it really showed what Umbrella was willing to do. I mean, the UBMC... that's what it's called in England. I'm not sure what the rest of it's called, but the Umbrella Task Forces, the mercenaries and stuff like that, and like willing to turn around and say, yeah, go ahead, nuke it, when they discovered that there was literally no other way to contain the new virus, was shocking. I remember just sitting there going, what? You're going to blow it up? You're going to nuke the entire city and reduce it to nothing? I really would love to see a game where you go back to Raccoon City after everything, so we can see what, if anything, survived, and B, how hilarious it would be to watch it all go wrong. But that's just me wishful thinking. I'm pretty certain Resident Evil is like dead now with Biohazard. Although, to be fair, I can't wait to play 7. I think I'm getting it for Christmas. So, I won't spoil that, but I'll spoil myself with that. Another thing is that the characters all felt really fleshed out. They felt like, you know, we got to know something about everyone. You know, I mean, learning about Ricardo, we learned more about Jill, Nikolai. References to other games were made as well. There's talk of the manor. There's like crossover bits where you kind of cross over with people like you see crossovers with people like you can go to the areas that Leon and Claire do, and you can see the effect they've had there. Like, there'll be masses of areas where in 2 it's full up, but you go there in 3 and it's been completely cleared out, because the game kind of works really well with locking into number 2. And honestly, I find very few games actually do that. I would have liked some like nods where like you see Leon running in the background or something, but considering they weren't sure what they were going to do with 3, it was really nice to kind of at least see nuances that the other guys were there. Another really good thing this one did was there was no huge sections with other characters. I mean, I don't mind Sherry, and I don't mind Ada, but personally, I don't want masses and masses and masses and masses and masses and masses and masses of it. Now, with the exception of like the Carlos bit where he goes to the hospital and the lab and that, there's not really any breakaway from Jill, which I think works really well. It does the game a lot more justice. Another thing, another bonus it has is the voice work. I think this is the first time where I've actually felt the voice worked with the characters. Admittedly, you barely saw their mouths moved, and it was just like blocky hand motions, but you actually like felt like you were watching something with the character when the characters talked and the characters moved. You felt like you were part of something rather than something that was just kind of handoff and like just, oh, okay, this is happening around me sort of thing. And the final thing that I think I enjoyed most about the game, I mean, there's probably other things that I've missed off on this list, but like, I think one of the big things was the fact that like the characters learned to react and like appeared to be learning in the environment while the game is going on. You know, Jill would be like, I can't go through that door because it's locked, and you'll notice that she'll make her way around and find other places. She'll come back to that area and be like, oh, okay. Or like the final fight with Nemesis, where you've got like the vats on the walls and stuff like that, also really works really well. Which I thought was actually a really cool nod and a really cool kind of hint, nudge to everything. And like, they learn about the environment, they learn about targets. They're like, I can't get through there because I know a fire's there. But unlike Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2, like, you didn't get the lousy text box, you just got her try and then step away, more than actually stupid text boxes that kind of broke up the game for me. So that's my pros for it. Like I say, there are a few cons. I'm not going to stick my fingers in my ears and pretend it's the greatest game ever, because it wasn't. For me, there was far too many, like, when you fight like Nemesis or you go like the quick time, like the decision events. I hated them. There were far too many in the game. There was far too many in the game, and it just kind of broke for me. It didn't quite fit for like the rest of the game for me. I don't know why. It just... sorry guys. It just kind of broke up the action for me and like the real ability to enjoy the game. And that really, really got to me and really upset me. And I was like, come on, I was loving this before you did this. Another issue I had was the game became very repetitive and very borrowed to the previous game, where like the previous games where it was like, find the ingredients to the cure, synthesize the cure. Resident Evil 1 and 2 both did that. And it's sort of, you'd think by now Umbrella knew how to like hide the information on their cures and their illnesses and like their viruses better, rather than it's chemical A and chemical B, mix it together, there you go. You can't really mess up on those, which really, really, really annoyed me, you know, and it kind of distracted me from actually enjoying the game. At least a little bit. And also, there are certain characters that received little or no attention from the audience. I mean, like, Mikhail, who I think is actually one of the most importantly vital characters in the entire game, gets no attention. He's in like 3 scenes, and yet without him the game wouldn't have got past the monorail station. You know, it's kind of really. Also, Nikolai, who I honestly thought was going to turn out that Nikolai was actually Krauser from Resident Evil 4. Like, he's supposed to be this guy you really, 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 really hate. And the only evil thing he actually ever does is kill an infected guy. And to me, that was just kind of, no, they don't make me hate him. I mean, okay, his attitude to Jill is a bit, but there was nothing that truly made me hate him, and that annoyed me. And even to a lesser extent, like, we're not given any influence in influence or any like hint towards Nemesis. It's like, why does he know only to produce star memories? I mean, we found that out in 4, but like, come on, give us that in the actual game. Don't make us wait for like 4 and Code Veronica and everything else. If you're going to tell us why we should hate this, why this guy just is unrelenting, tell us why he's unrelenting in the game. Don't, like, screw it out. Because otherwise, like, we just don't care. So, yeah. So, like I say, Resident Evil 3 is probably my favourite, like, modern game. My own rating is, it's a really good game with some real awesome mechanics, but there are just too many mechanics and too many to, like, give it anywhere near, to give it like a 10 or something. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. If you guys have a game or a particular game series you want me to check out at some point, seriously, comment it below or comment on my social media and I'll have a look, and yeah, I'll have a look and I'll be nosy and I'll check it out and I'll let you guys know. Alright, so tomorrow's the end, guys. Tomorrow is the last video. I don't know how I'm feeling about that, really. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, oh, all good things must come to an end, but there's a part of me that's like, why? I'm not ready yet. I do have a video. I already have a pre-planned video for tomorrow, which you guys will see, and it will probably be quite open and quite honest. So, you know, if you guys seriously would like to check it out, I obviously that'll be up tomorrow. Until then, I'm off. Bye, guys. I love you. Bye.